wool, the way it rips at that wet wool. And so his soul is taken, and the angel of death doesn't have that soul for even the blinking, even the twinkling of an eye, except that the rest of those angels, they come and they enshroud it with the shroud from the hellfire, and then and from it comes and emits the most foul stench ever known, and the most foul stench ever emitted on the face of the earth. And so they rise to the lowest Jannah, and they seek the permission to enter it. And then they are questioned, who is it who seeks to enter? And then they say, he is so and so, the son of so and so. And they use the worst of the names. They use the worst of the names that the people used to call him by. And then he is told there is no entry for this soul, and his soul is dropped. His soul is dropped from that great height. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, return him back to the earth, because from it I created them, and from it I shall resurrect them. And so his soul is dropped from that great height back down to this dunya. And so the people, they carry the person's body. They carry the person's body, and they are carrying him to his grave. And his soul is there awaiting for him. The person who is righteous, the person who is pious, the person who knows he has the mercy and the forgiveness of Allah, he says to the people carrying his body, rush with me, take me to my home, take me to my abode, take me, hurry. But the other person who knows that he is going to the adhab of Allah, he is going to the punishment of Allah, he says, where are you taking me? Where are you taking me? Don't bury me, don't bury me. And he utters a scream that everything can hear except for mankind and except for the jinn. And so the people, they take this body. And as the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam said, that when he is carried to his grave, every single person, he is followed by three things. Two of those things, they return, and one of those things remain with him. He is followed by his wealth, he is followed by his family, and he is followed by his deeds. As for his wealth and his family, then they return. As for his deeds, then they remain with him. And so they lower him into that grave, and they put him into that grave. And whether he was rich or whether he was poor, he's placed into that same small hole 6 feet deep, and the dust and the mud is thrown over him, and the worms are covering him, and everything is covering him. And so when they have raised his grave slightly and they have covered him up, they walk away. And that dead person, he can hear their footsteps as they are leaving him. He can hear his mother and his father leaving him. He can hear his beloved ones leaving him. He can feel his wealth is leaving him, and he knows now that he is alone. Until when he is in that situation, the two angels, they come towards him, scary faces, stern in their approach, and they are coming towards him, and he has nowhere to run and he has nowhere to hide. And when he's placed in his grave gives him a squeeze. His grave, it squeezes him. Whether he is righteous, whether he is evil, his grave, it squeezes him, and his grave is dark. And those two angels, he sees them coming, and he has nowhere to run and he has nowhere to hide. And the angels, they sit him up in his grave, and they question him, and they say, Mar Rabbuk, who is your Lord? And the person of Tawheed, the one who worshipped Allah Jalla wa Ala without any partners, he says, Rabbi Allah. He says, my Lord is Allah. And then they ask him, Wama dinuk, and what is your religion? And he says that my deen is al-Islam. And then they ask him, who was that man that was sent to you? And he says that man was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and I followed him, and I believed in Allah, and I followed the religion that he was sent with. And then he is told, you have told the truth. A voice calls out, my slave has told the truth. So open a door for him to Jannah, and furnish his graves with the furnishings of Jannah. And so he is shown a window, and in that window he sees the hellfire. He sees the blazing flame. He sees the torment in the hellfire. And he is told, this would have been your place had you not followed and believed in the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then that window is closed, and a window to the Jannah is opened up, and he sees its delights, and he sees the beauty of it, and his grave is filled with the light from Al-Jannah and the beautiful smell from Al-Jannah. It percolates into his grave, and his grave spreads out for him for as far as his eye can see. For as far as his eye can see, his grave is wide and it is furnished with the furnishings of Al-Jannah. And so he says, "Oh Allah, establish the hour so that I can go to my wealth and my family. Oh Allah, make the hour come, hasten on the hour so that I can return to my wealth and to my family, Ya Rabb."